Hey guys, welcome to LALoveCreative, and today we're talking about the Blackmagic Pocket 6K camera. Should you buy it? And my first initial thoughts on the camera. Now recently I had a chance to play around with the Blackmagic Pocket 6K camera. I was doing a fashion shoot and I thought I'd play around with the camera. Now this is not an in-depth review of the Blackmagic Pocket 6K camera, long name, but this is just my initial thoughts, my first impressions on what kind of camera it is and who it's best suited for. A while back I actually did a video on the Blackmagic Pocket 4K, so when the 6K came out I was like, oh, somebody hold me back. I think I fainted. I passed out. That's how excited I was, because the idea of a 6K camera for $2,500 is just groundbreaking. And I have to say, Blackmagic once again has created an awesome camera. Now, speaking of 6K, one of the biggest drawbacks I would say about this camera is 6K RAW is pretty much your only option when it comes to 6K. As of now, this camera doesn't shoot 6K ProRes or 6K any other type of codec. And I felt that that's kind of a drawback because the RAW files on this camera are ridiculously big. If you're not ready for huge files and your workflow is not ready for that, then I would just suggest using a C200 or using another type of cinema camera that has more smaller file sizes. As of now, the only way you can actually edit 6K footage from this Blackmagic camera is using DaVinci Resolve. That's actually quite awesome because DaVinci Resolve is an awesome editing and color grading software. But if you want to use, the software you're used to, like for me, I edit my YouTube videos and stuff like that on Final Cut. You're going to have to color grade on DaVinci Resolve, export them, and then, edit on Final Cut or Premiere Pro. One thing I really liked about this camera is the slow motion. I think the slow motion on cameras like the Sony a7 III or cameras like that, it's not the best. So it was really cool for me to actually use a camera that the slow motion I think just looks so good. 6K, 60 frames per second slow motion. Another great thing this camera can do is 2.8K, 120 frames per second. That is just ridiculous. That alone, to me, I feel like that's definitely all you need when it comes to like slow motion. I rarely go over 120 frames per second. So I think that having 2.8K in that frame rate is just ridiculous. One thing that I will say that I wish the Blackmagic Pocket camera had, which doesn't make, like, honestly, before I get all the crazy comments and below, like, oh, that doesn't, I wish it had autofocus. I wish it had a really good autofocus. I know that it's a cinema camera and cinema cameras don't have autofocus. It has one, it's like a push button and it does something, but it's alright, man, it's alright. Now, one thing I don't really like about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, the body is kind of awkwardly shaped. The screen is a beautiful screen, awesome touch screen, but it doesn't articulate. And that becomes a problem because when you're shooting in certain angles, you're like, man, I can't see this. So if you're gonna use the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, be aware that you're going to have to rig this camera out. It needs follow focus because it has no autofocus. It needs a secondary field monitor. It needs a battery solution because the battery on the Pocket 6K is worse than the battery on the 4K. It's really bad. Like literally you throw a battery in, you film for like 2 seconds in 6K and then you're already like, damn, where my battery at? But you're gonna have to rig this camera. So if you're gonna buy this camera, be aware that this is a cinema camera. It's gonna also need some type of memory solution because this camera takes up so much space memory-wise. You're gonna need multiple SSDs. I personally wouldn't go CFast cards or SD cards. It's awesome that this camera has those two options. But if you're gonna actually shoot in 6K, I think you should be buying portable SSDs. You need at least 3 or 4 of them because you're gonna be filling them up really, really fast. Now, is this camera right for you? Now, I think if you're looking for something to shoot short films with or higher end productions where you can have a crew, you can have someone helping you pull focus, you can have people help you rig the camera out, I think it's a great camera for you. I think I could totally see myself using this on commercial projects where I want more of a cinematic feel, because this camera also has anamorphic mode. So you can put anamorphic lenses on this camera and it'll de-squeeze it. I'm like, I mean, come on, y'all. What else do you want for $2,500? I mean, come on. Do you want the camera to shoot the movie for you? Damn. This camera has a lot of cool features that I think you should consider if you're looking for more higher end, commercial looking work. The codecs that this camera shoot in, whether it be B-RAW or ProRes 422, 444, these are codecs that you're gonna really want to use in post on the higher end projects. If you are a YouTuber, it's probably overkill. You don't wanna use this camera. It's too much work in post. Now that's all I have to say about the Blackmagic Pocket 6K camera. Am I gonna get one? Time will tell. I think it's an awesome camera for short films, so maybe I might. But that's all I have to say. And if you have any questions on photography or videography, hit me up in the comments below. And make sure you hit the notification so you can stay notified when we post new videos. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Don't you want to see this face like all the time? No? All right. Well, see you later.